Hello and welcome back to another video. It's another episode of this week's watches. You'll have to excuse the hair during this episode because I got caught in the rain on the way into the office with no umbrella. You'd think living in the UK for 23 years now, I'd be used to the rain and would carry an umbrella during this time of the year. But it appears I haven't. Now, as usual with these videos, in the description there is a link to every single watch you see on the table. There's also a timestamp to skip to the part of the video where I discuss that watch, because I know some of you out there do not like my rambling, and that is completely fine. So that's why we provide that down in the description. And this week's drop is a lot smaller than the last ones. It's a lot more refined. There's only one modern watch and it's incredibly affordable. To be honest, most of this drop is relatively affordable, with the most expensive being around £1,500–1,600 and the most affordable being around £300. So a lot of value in this drop, and I can't wait to get into it. And I just want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you, because you have kept this business going strong during a very, very difficult time for the entire country and the world, really. You know, it's very strange times. A lot of businesses are really struggling, and whilst it's not all incredible and everything is great, it is certainly better than what it could be, and that's thanks to you guys and girls. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to say, continue supporting small businesses. You know, this is the time where they need you the most, and they really feel that difference. So thank you very much, myself included, being one of those small businesses. And just keep safe during this time, guys. You know, we are currently locked down, which means you cannot come and view these watches in the office. But hopefully we'll be out in December and you can get back to coming to the office, having a coffee here with me, or even a beer, depending on what time it is, and viewing some watches and just having a good time. So hopefully we can get back to that. And I just want to quickly say as well, if we come out of this lockdown in December as we're supposed to, who knows what's going to happen, there is something very exciting potentially in the works for Kibble watches. I won't say any more just because it may not happen if we don't come out of lockdown, but if we do, it's going to be very, very exciting. I'm going to try my hardest to get lots of videos around it, and I'll be pushing it all over Instagram so you'll know it's happening as well. And let's just say, if you're in London, you're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for this because it affects you personally. Before we dive into the watches on the table, as always, what is on my wrist? This is an absolute beauty, and I cannot wait for this to hit the website. So we're a couple of weeks away from it being on the website. The watch is completely ready. All I'm waiting for now is a custom strap by the strap tailor, pigskin strap, which is going to look incredible on this watch. This is a 1939 oversized Omega, and by oversized I mean 38 millimeters for 1939. It's a 30T2 inside, a very, very rare watch in general, being this kind of size, and the dial is completely original. Whilst it's certainly worn, it's just gorgeous. You know, I've decided to keep the dial as it is because it's just maintaining all that history into a 38mm watch. It's beautiful. Fixed lugs and fixed spring bar, so it does need folding straps. So right now I've got it paired on a very nice brown, which actually looks incredible, but the pigskin, as I said, is being made as we speak, and it's just going to take this watch right up to the next level, and I can't wait for this to be available. Where to begin? We'll start with a gorgeous Omega Constellation. So starting with a watch that is possibly already spoken for, by the time you're watching this video has already sold. So I apologize in advance if this was the one you were hoping to get, but that is why it's so important to follow on Instagram, keep an eye on the stories, because everything gets teased there first. This is a gorgeous 1962 Omega Constellation. Commonly known as the PiePan dial because of the way the dial is shaped. It looks very much like a PiePan. Kind of makes sense. The reference of this one is a 168005, and as I said, it's 1962, which makes this incredibly early, especially when you take a look at the other offerings out there. Now, the reason I picked this one up is because it offers everything I love about the Constellation. The PiePan dial, the really gorgeous sloping lugs or dogleg lugs. There's so many nicknames for these watches now, and a completely original dial. So oftentimes these dials are refinished, whereas this one is 100% original. Still even got its Omega etched crystal there, and its original crown. Now, you'll be very surprised if you start looking around for this reference. Most of them don't have the correct crown, which it should be, this faceted crown you see here. A lot of them have a knurled crown, which is far easier to use than this crown. This isn't the easiest to grip, but it is original. Also gold. Now, you're looking at it, and if we flip it over, you'll see steel. Now, that is correct. This is a gold capped model. So what that does, it offers you a ton of value because you're not having to fork out the multiple thousands for the solid gold reference, but you still get all that charm and look of a gold reference. Now, I have paired it on a reproduction Omega buckle. All these are disclosed as reproduction. If they're original, I state in the description. I quite like these. It just adds to the look. You know, you don't really need them. They're not original Omega, as I stress, but they just look good. So beating away under this case back is the Omega Automatic Caliber 561, which was originally a chronometer certified movement. Currently got it paired on this very nice suede strap. It will come with a separate strap because this one has discolored slightly, but it still looks really good. So let's show it on wrist. Now the sizes of this one is quite surprising, really. It's 34mm by 42mm. You've got only 11mm thick and 18mm lugs, but it wears gorgeous. It does not wear like a 34mm. Now, you would think it could be about 36, 37mm because of those lugs and the way it flares out on the wrist. Absolute gorgeous piece, massively, massively underrated, and a real charmer, and as I said, probably spoken for. So apologies about that. Now on to a new old stock 18 karat white gold watch. Now on to the Eska. So this is quite an interesting brand. They recently celebrated 100 years, and to celebrate, they bought the company back because the company went out of business in the 70s, in the 80s, sorry. So you can check out a full write-up of the brand Eska on the website, so do check that out. But the watch is stunning. Absolutely stunning. So this is 18 karat white gold. Now some of you may have noticed that straight away from the slightly sort of champagne-y hue which white gold often has compared to steel. We'll show it the sort of difference. You can potentially see, you know, it's a much more champagne colored. Really, really gorgeous watch. It is also mechanical. So this dates from 1965, so very, very early. It even has hallmarks on the lugs as well. The white gold hallmarks, completely hallmarked inside. It is also new old stock. It's still got remnants of the sticker on the back, quite gunky, but it is there, and the edges are sharp as anything, and you've got that really gorgeous stepped bezel, all original, never polished, and really gorgeous piece. It does have a steel crown instead of white gold, and it is very tiny. It is the correct one, as you can see, the way it sits in there, and it is a bit of a pain to grip, but once you get it, it's all good. Now, beating away inside here is the manually wound, and you're gonna have to forgive me for the pronunciation of this, Aurore Villeret 423. Again, on the website is all the details. You'll see how it's actually spelt, because I probably butchered that pronunciation. It's a very pretty movement. Currently got it paired on this grey suede strap, which I think really complements the watch, but it does also come with its Eska signed original strap, which is this sort of, I don't even know what fabric this is. It's quite strange, but I just prefer it on this, so it comes with both. Now let's show it on wrist, because as you can see, it is only 6mm thin, which makes it one of the world's thinnest watches, especially of this time, 1965. So we'll show it on wrist, and it will surprise you, because whilst it's 33mm by 39mm, thanks to those proper crazy lugs and the really unusual bezel design, it wears a lot bigger, but it does look like a classic two-hander dress watch. As I said, only 6mm thick and 18mm lugs, which slightly hide under the lugs themselves, so you've got to make sure the strap is thin enough to sort of cut under ever so slightly. But a very, very underrated piece, a very gorgeous piece, and one that I don't think will hang around long, especially when you consider the value proposition of this. You know, 18 karat white gold, mechanical, vintage, new old stock, and the price, we have it on the website. Go check it out. And to those asking why I don't mention the price in the videos, one, it's to encourage you, if you are interested, to go to the website, which is always a plus, but it's also just to protect for the future, because there's no point talking about prices, because prices sort of fluctuate over years and years and years, and I don't want people referring back to these videos in 2 years thinking that's the current market price. So that is the reason, but go check it out on the website. From one new old stock to another, a Zenith. Now for one of the final new old stock Zeniths I have. For those of you who have been following closely, I was very lucky to get a hand on quite a few new old stock Zeniths, and I've just been getting them ready for the website. So for those of you who don't know, with new old stock, true new old stock, oftentimes they are left in a drawer or left in sort of display windows or whatever the case may be. And inside, those oils and the seals and everything dry up and get very, very horrible, and it gets very stiff, and it can break very easily mechanically because everything is just seized up. because obviously it's not been used. So it takes a little bit of time for my watchmaker to go through each piece and you know, replace all the seals, lubricate everything, get everything up and running to a good standard for us to provide our warranty. Now the one we have here is a Zenith automatic pilot. Really gorgeous piece with a vertical sort of striped dial. You've got the loom on the hands, which would have been tritium, and you've got the loom plots around the outside as well, which are all nice and even. Really gorgeous piece. Dates down here, and you can see the case is very, very cool with this integrated style bracelet, polished sides, and that very lovely chamfer. And one thing I do want to make perfectly clear, and I mention it in the write-ups of each of the new old stock watches, is new old stock means it's as close to new as you're going to get. The reason I say this is because some people expect 1960s, 70s new old stock pieces to be like buying a brand new watch out of a window today. The truth is that's just not really going to happen, because oftentimes these have sat in a drawer or in storage, as I mentioned earlier, for 40, 50 odd years. You got to imagine sometimes they're going to get surface marks, sometimes they're thrown in a drawer with lots of other watches, and they may be passed from hand to hand before finally landing in your hand for your ownership. So hairline scratches may be seen and all that kind of stuff, but overall very, very good. You can see it's still got remnants of the sticker on the case back there. It does also come with its swing tag, which unfortunately fell off its rope at some point, or the string, but it will come with it. Zenith signed crown, as you would expect, and this is a Zenith signed bracelet too. Now, beating away inside of here is the automatic Zenith caliber 2572 PC. Quite a commonly used Zenith caliber you'll find in many watches, including a couple of Zeniths I personally own as well. The interesting thing about this movement is the first position of the crown is to change the time, and the final position is to change the date. So sort of opposite of what we're used to with watches, and the size is brilliant, especially on wrist. It's 35mm by 40mm, so this goes to show how much case shape can affect wearability, because 35mm by 40mm in normal round cases would be quite small. But because of this Torno-esque shape, it wears a lot larger. It's only 12mm thick, and as we said, it's got its integrated bracelet, which is very, very nice. It's not the most comfortable of bracelets in the world. It is very much that 70s style bracelet, but it is original and it looks good, and that is for sure. I don't think this one will hang around long, so go check it out. Now let's go up to the Christopher Ward. Now to a watch that really surprised me, especially in its build quality and its design. So this is a Christopher Ward Mark 1 C8, as it's commonly known. A sort of pilot watch, I guess you would say, with sort of military design as well. Really, really awesome hands and loom on the dial, which is slightly aged. That's force aged, it's not aged sort of naturally. A bright red second hand with matching red accents. And it's big Christopher Ward signed onion crown. Very interesting design, sort of propeller on the back, and it comes on its Christopher Ward strap and buckle with box and papers. The reason it surprised me is because it's one of the older generation Christopher Wards. Now, from my recollection, I don't really remember them being that good. Now, the modern Christopher Wards are incredible, and I don't want to get a load of hate for sort of saying the older ones weren't so good, but they weren't from my experience. However, this one is built very, very well. The beat blasted case is gorgeous. The movement inside here, the Sellita SW200, it just offers a ton of value, especially when you consider it comes with everything and the size. So it's nice to see a pilot's watch in a wearable size for people like myself with smaller wrists. This is a 38mm by 46mm watch, so very, 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 very wearable for this kind of design. Only 11mm thick with 20mm lug width. So again, your variety of straps you can choose from is endless, but a really gorgeous watch. And there's not really much more to say about this. You know, it offers a lot of value, and that's always a question of, you know, do you want something that offers a lot of value, or do you want something that maybe is a much different price range, maybe like the IWC, but has real heritage and history in this field? That's for you to decide. You know, you get what you pay for when it comes to certain things, up to a certain point. Now onto a very affordable and charming Omega. So how about this for a little charmer? This is a very gorgeous Omega de Ville, gold plated. Again, so you've got that value proposition of having a watch that looks gold, but it isn't, so you don't have to pay the gold prices. Rectangular tank-esque you know, in its design. Again, I've got it on a reproduction buckle, and it is on a very nice 21mm, so quite an awkward size, leather strap. And I believe these came from the same factories that Omega used to use when they made straps in the sort of 70s and 80s, because I have seen some Omega straps, this exact design and this exact quality, just signed Omega, so you never know. But anyway, back to the watch. Really gorgeous sort of grain dial, I guess you'd call it, or stardust. I mean, people are always coming up with nicknames. There is a bit of a mark on the Omega logo there, but nothing too crazy. And it is a Ville, so it's very, very nice. Omega sign crown right there, and that is a snap-on case back. Now, beating away inside here is the manually wound Omega Cal 620. Quite a small movement, but great nonetheless. And it dates to 1969, so the same year we landed on the moon. So quite a cool little bit of history there. And it comes from the same brand that obviously the astronauts wore when going to the moon. You can see it here on wrist. It actually wears very similar to the Cartier tank on wrist. However, it's got a larger strap, so it makes it wear wider ever so slightly. It's 25mm by 36mm, so very, very wearable for gents and for ladies. Only 8mm thick with, as I said, 21mm lugs. Quite an awkward lug design, but it does come on this nice matching black strap, which matches those black onyx markers in the hands very, very well. Just a lot of watch for not a lot of money, especially when you're looking in this kind of design realm. You know, the Cartier tank seems to be growing in popularity, rightfully so, and is sort of an all boats rises situation where watches that look like a tank seem to be going up as well. Whereas this one's still reasonably priced considering it's an Omega. And last but by no means least, a very interesting blue dial vintage watch. So let's talk about this unusual watch. Now this is also 1969, the same as the Omega we just showed, and it is a vivid or electric blue sandals, and that dial is original. I mean, look at those indices, and this is the sort of thing I've tried to capture in the photographs, and it's also why I do these videos, because you can show details that are very difficult to capture. Those indices, or I've been told off for calling them indices by someone, but indices, that's what they are, are huge. They're proper raised. I think they have sort of the name coffin markers when they're like this. Not my terminology, guys, just what people call them. Really, really nice. It's got its outer ring as well, which is white, and it raised up, and that proper blue dial. Really, really cool piece. I think massively underrated as well. Sandals is a cool brand. Again, check the website. We talk about all these kind of things in much more detail. This is more just giving you an overview of the watch itself. It does have its original signed crown, as you can see there, which is a very nice touch, and you can see the way the lugs slope. Very, very nice. Someone did ask me, did it come on a bracelet originally? It probably did, based on the design, but I can't be 100% sure. But it probably did. We can see the case back here, and the model name is actually a Pole Master. So I wonder whether this was some kind of homage to Universal Geneve's Pole Rotor. We may never know. But beating away inside is the automatic caliber 1903 by AS. So a nice, reliable automatic movement that you can wind as well, which is always good. It's got quite a distinct wind. You can probably hear that from the video. So all in all, a very nice automatic watch with a very interesting blue dial and a very simple dial as well. There's not too much writing and all that kind of stuff, and one that you could very much swap out into different straps and have a lot of fun with. So as I said, it's from 1969, so a very early piece, very sort of 70s in its design, so it's a little bit ahead of the curve, if you think. 35mm by 45mm, so wears very, very well, 11mm thick and 20mm lugs. So that is a very wide lug width for a relatively smaller watch at 35mm, so it makes it wear and appear much bigger on the wrist, which is good for those guys and girls who maybe find 35mm usually a bit too small. I think you'll find this more than fine, but for most of us, I think this is, I mean, size is always a thing people talk about. I mean, I am wearing a 38mm watch, we'll put it next to it for comparison, but you can see, because of the thickness of the case and the way it slopes down and everything, it's very comparable, so I wouldn't be put off by sizes, guys. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop. A lot smaller than the past drops have been. Let me know what you prefer. Do you prefer these smaller drops or the bigger drops? It's very much dependent on what stock I get in when I get it. You know, being in this industry, each day is completely different. I could wake up and have a million emails all offering watches for sale, and it's like, It's like the best day ever because I get to go through and choose what I want. And then some days there's nothing. So it can really, really vary, which is why the drops vary in size so much. And again, just a huge thank you to every single one of you. Keep safe during this strange time and just keep supporting the small businesses. They really, really feel it when you do. And that is it from me, guys. Keep safe, keep well, and we will see you all in the next video. Take care.